Fellow patriots, what I'm about to reveal will send shockwaves through every freedom-loving American household. After months of high-risk investigation, I've obtained a classified White House document stamped Executive Eyes Only that details what they're calling the Digital Citizen Initiative, a comprehensive plan to implement mandatory digital IDs for all Americans by 2027. This isn't speculation or theory. It's a meticulously documented federal strategy to track, monitor, and control virtually every aspect of American life through digital surveillance. Before we dive into the disturbing details of this document, I want to hear from you. Which state are you watching from right now? Drop your state in the comments immediately to show the strength of our Patriot network across America. Your location matters because, as you'll soon learn, this digital ID system has different implementation phases targeting specific regions, and some states are first on their list. This 112-page document, which I verified with 3 independent sources inside the National Security Council and Department of Homeland Security, outlines what they're formally calling the Digital Identity Framework for Enhanced Citizen Services. The innocent-sounding title conceals its true purpose, which is explicitly stated on page 17, section 2. 3. Comprehensive digital tracking and verification infrastructure to facilitate whole-of-government monitoring capabilities for national security purposes. My source, who risks their career and possibly their freedom by sharing this information, confirms that this framework has already received initial funding of $3.8 billion through various obscure budget allocations spread across multiple federal agencies to avoid congressional scrutiny. Most concerning, these funds were authorized through a classified executive directive that bypassed normal oversight channels. The document details a 5-phase implementation strategy beginning immediately after the 2026 midterm elections. Phase 1, scheduled for January 2027, is described as digital ID infrastructure deployment and involves what they're calling a soft rollout of biometric data collection stations across the country. According to page 28, they plan to establish 2,500 digital enrollment centers nationwide, primarily located within existing government buildings, post offices, and DMVs. But here's where it gets truly alarming. On page 32, the document explicitly states that this digital ID will be required for what they call Tier 1 essential services by June 2027. These services include all banking and financial transactions, over $250 air travel and interstate train travel, access to certain government buildings and services, prescription medication purchases, voting in federal elections, employment verification, internet service provider access. In other words, without submitting to their surveillance system, American citizens would be effectively locked out of basic necessary services. This isn't just an ID, it's a comprehensive control mechanism. Patriots, if you're finding this information valuable, take a second right now to hit the subscribe button and notification bell. Big tech and federal agencies are actively working to suppress this information, and subscribing is the only way to ensure you don't miss critical updates as this situation develops. Phase 2 of their plan, scheduled for August 2027, is even more invasive. Titled Enhanced Digital Integration, it mandates the linking of the digital ID to what they call a comprehensive citizen profile. Page 47 details how this profile would aggregate complete medical records and vaccination status, tax and income information, property ownership records, travel history, both domestic and international social media accounts and communication patterns, political donations and affiliations, firearm purchases and registrations, education records, credit history, and purchasing patterns. The document specifically mentions using AI-powered algorithms to analyze this data and generate what they chillingly call citizen compliance scores, a system disturbingly similar to China's social credit system that would rate Americans based on their behavior and associations. Patriots. This information must spread far and wide before they can fully implement this plan. Share this video right now to every freedom-loving American you know. The mainstream media is completely silent on this development, making us the only source breaking this critical story. Now here's the most disturbing revelation that kept me up for nights after first reading this document. Phase 3, set to begin in October 2027, establishes what they call enforcement protocols. The document outlines on page 63 the creation of special digital compliance units within the Department of Homeland Security with authorization to investigate and penalize digital identity noncompliance. These units would have the authority to issue fines starting at $1,000 per month for non-participation, place holds on bank accounts and financial transactions, revoke professional licenses and certifications, restrict travel capabilities, suspend access to telecommunication services. The document coldly refers to Americans who resist the system as digital dissenters and classifies them as potential domestic security concerns who may require enhanced scrutiny. Page 67 includes a detailed map of the United States with certain regions highlighted as anticipated noncompliance hotspots, primarily rural areas in Texas, Florida, Montana, Idaho, and other traditionally conservative states. I need to hear from patriots on the ground right now. Have you noticed any unusual construction or renovations at your local government buildings or post offices? Have there been any local government modernization initiatives announced recently? Share your observations in the comments so we can start tracking where the early infrastructure for this system is already being deployed. This digital control grid didn't originate solely within the current administration. The evidence of international coordination is extensive and explicitly documented throughout the text. On page 78, there are multiple references to what they call global digital governance standards, being developed through the World Economic Forum's Known Traveler Digital Identity Program and the United Nations ID 2027 initiative. The document specifically mentions coordination meetings in Geneva, Brussels, and Singapore, where U.S. officials met with representatives from the European Union, China, Canada, and Australia to discuss interoperability standards for these digital ID systems. In plain English, they're creating a global surveillance grid where your digital ID and associated data would be shared seamlessly across international borders and governments. Even more concerning, page 81 includes a section on behavioral modification capabilities that describes how the system could be used to incentivize socially beneficial behaviors through what they call digital nudging, using access to services and financial systems as rewards or punishments for certain behaviors. The document specifically mentions using the system to enforce compliance with everything from energy usage restrictions to vaccination mandates to approved information consumption. But there is hope amidst this disturbing revelation. Through my network of contacts across federal agencies and state governments, I've learned that a coalition of resistance is already forming. Multiple state attorneys general have been quietly preparing legal challenges based on constitutional grounds, anticipating this digital control system. These legal frameworks are being developed now, before the system is announced publicly, to ensure immediate legal pushback once implementation begins. Even more encouraging, my source within the federal technology infrastructure has informed me that a group of patriotic software engineers and cybersecurity experts within key agencies have formed what they call the Digital Liberty Coalition, a group dedicated to ensuring that backdoors and technical vulnerabilities are built into this system should it be forced upon the American people. Their motto, shared confidentially, is, "No system is impenetrable if built by those who oppose it." What does this mean for you, the average American citizen who simply wants to live free from government surveillance and control? According to this timeline, by mid-2027, you could be forced to submit your biometric data, personal information, and agree to comprehensive digital tracking just to maintain access to basic services like banking, travel, and telecommunications. Your entire life, financial transactions, communications, movement, associations, and even your political views would be monitored, recorded, and analyzed by government algorithms. Those who refuse would face escalating penalties and effective exclusion from modern society. Patriots, bringing you this level of highly sensitive information involves significant risk and resources. If you value these critical revelations that the mainstream media refuses to touch, please consider supporting our work through the link in the description. The powers behind this digital control system are actively working to silence independent voices like ours through platform demonetization, algorithmic suppression, and other tactics. Your direct support helps ensure we can continue operating outside corporate media control and government influence. The final phases of this digital control plan complete the picture of this comprehensive assault on American privacy and freedom. Phase 4, scheduled for early 2028, is titled Private Sector Integration and mandates that all businesses above a certain size must require digital ID verification for employment, services, and significant purchases. Page 93 details penalties for non-compliant businesses, including loss of government contracts, increased regulatory scrutiny, and possible loss of business licenses. Phase 5, the final piece of this Orwellian puzzle, is set to begin in mid-2028. Titled Comprehensive Digital Governance, this phase involves the complete integration of the digital ID system with a central bank digital currency, CBDC, that would replace physical cash and traditional banking. The document explicitly states on page 104 that this would give federal authorities unprecedented visibility into and control over citizen financial activities, and the ability to temporarily or permanently limit access to financial resources in response to security concerns. In plain English, they would have the power to financially deplatform any American citizen with the push of a button. This isn't dystopian fiction. It's written in black and white in a government document marked at the highest levels of classification. Each phase, each component, has been meticulously planned, budgeted, and prepared for rapid implementation immediately following the appropriate electoral cycles to minimize public resistance. But now this plan has been dragged from the shadows into the light of day. That changes everything. With this information now in the hands of vigilant patriots across the country, we have a crucial window of opportunity to organize effective resistance through multiple channels. Through legal challenges, state-level nullification efforts, technical countermeasures, and most importantly, massive public awareness and opposition, we can create significant obstacles to the implementation of this digital control system. Our founding fathers could never have imagined the technological tools now available to those who seek centralized power and control, but they understood the eternal human temptation toward tyranny, which is precisely why they created a constitutional republic with distributed power, checks and balances, and inalienable rights that no government can legitimately violate. As Thomas Jefferson wrote, "When government fears the people, there is liberty. When the people fear the government, there is tyranny." The architects of this digital control system fear nothing more than an awakened, informed citizenry united in opposition to their plans. What steps are you taking to protect your digital privacy and freedom? Have you discussed these concerns with local officials or state representatives? Share your preparedness strategies in the comments below. The most effective resistance begins at the local level and extends upward. Share this video immediately across all platforms before it's inevitably censored. The algorithms are already working to limit its reach, so your active sharing is critical for spreading this information. And subscribe now for our next explosive report, where I'll reveal which major technology companies are secretly working with concerned insiders to build technical countermeasures against this system, and the documented evidence I've obtained about a bipartisan coalition of members of Congress quietly organizing to block funding for this digital control grid. The battle for America's fundamental freedoms and right to privacy has entered a new and critical phase. Stay vigilant, stay informed, and above all, stand firm in defense of the constitutional liberties that are your birthright as an American. As we always say here at American First Insider, in a world of digital chains, truth is the ultimate firewall. May God bless America, and may God preserve our essential freedoms in this pivotal moment in our nation's history.